Best Book Club, the podcast where I discuss the best stories with the best minds in the community. On this episode, I'll be doing something pretty different. I'll be going through the Game of Thrones, the first book in that series, just kind of reading it through and having off the cuff discussions about it with my very good friend Vonjonw, Vonjonw W.
What's up? What's up, bro?
Yeah.
I'm not your best friend, bro. Your boyfriend. You have to.
Well, I have no idea how this is gonna go. I don't know if it's gonna be interesting at all to anybody who listens to it, but I think it'll be kind of fun for us to do this. So, this is the first book in Game of Thrones series. I've tried to go through this book a couple times. The first couple chapters have always been way too dense with characters, and it's always put me off from that. But I'm hoping it'll be a little more enjoyable going through it with somebody else.
Do you
So
know where do you stop it? Like, do you have
I
any?
don't remember the last time where I stopped at, but I know it wasn't more than I think probably chapter 3, just because of the
Mm,
sheer amount of characters that are thrown at you in the initial couple chapters of that book.
let's see.
It
Like
is
chapter three, counting this one, the prologue.
well, I don't count the prologue as a chapter just because it's
Yeah,
not
makes sense.
titled as a chapter. um it's just kind of the forward to the story. It's to set the scene. I've never really thought about really like the whole purpose behind a prologue, like why people actually decide to put it in, but I find them fun at times. I think they do work very well for these more epic, wild, expansive worlds. But
Yeah, yeah. For example, the Game of Thrones one, and it's not really spoiled because you've read it. By the way, I mean, like, I'm not gonna spoil you, you know, when we are talking about the book. But yeah, if you're not gonna spoil it, I'm not gonna spoil it. The audience too makes no sense. So yeah, never mind. What's the question? Another
okay,
question.
so yeah, I mean, whatever questions that I come up with, I guess just try to answer them in as non-spoiler a way as possible. But I guess let's just get into it then. So this is the first book, A Game of Thrones. So prologue. We should start back, Garrett urged as the woods began to grow dark around them. The wildlings are dead. Do the dead frighten you? Sir Waymar Royce asked with just the hint of a smile. Garrett did not rise to the bait. He was an old man, past 50, and he had seen the lordlings come and go. Dead is dead, he said. We have no business with the dead. Are they dead? Royce asked softly. What proof have we? Will saw them, Garrett said. He says if they are dead, that's proof enough for me. If he says they are dead, that's proof enough for me. Will had known they would drag him into the quarrel sooner or later. He wished it had been later rather than sooner. My mother told me that dead men sing no songs, he put in. My wet nurse said the same thing, Will, Royce replied. Never believe anything you hear at a woman's tit. There are things to be learned even from the dead. His voice echoed, too loud in the twilit forest. We have a long ride before us, Garrett pointed out. 8 days, maybe 9. And night is falling. Sir Waymar Royce glanced at the sky with disinterest. It does that every day about this time. Are you unmanned by the dark, Garrett? Will could see the tightness around Garrett's mouth, the barely suppressed anger in his eyes under the thick black hood of his cloak. Garrett had spent 40 years on the Night's Watch, man and boy, and he was not accustomed to being made light of. Yet it was more than that. Under the wounded pride, Will could sense something else in the older man. You could taste it, a nervous tension that came perilous close to fear. Will shared his unease. He had been 4 years on the wall. The first time he had been sent beyond, all the old stories had come rushing back, and his bowels had turned to water. He had laughed about it afterward. He was a veteran of 100 rangings by now, and the endless dark wilderness that the Southron called the Hunted Forest had no more terrors for him. Until tonight. Something was different tonight. There was an edge to this darkness that made his hackles rise. 9 days they had been riding, north and northwest, and then north again, farther and farther from the wall, hard on the track of a band of wildling raiders. Each day had been worse than the day that had come before it. Today was the worst of all. A cold wind was blowing out of the north, and it made the trees rustle like living things. All day, Will had felt as though something were watching him, something cold and implacable that loved him not. Garrett had felt it too. Will wanted nothing so much as to ride hell-bent for the safety of the wall, but that was not a feeling to share with your commander, especially not a commander like this one. Sir Waymar Royce was the youngest son of an ancient house with too many heirs. He was a handsome youth of 18, gray-eyed and graceful, and slender as a knife. Mounted on his huge black destrier, the knight towered above Will and Garrett on their smaller garrons. He wore black leather boots, black woolen pants, black moleskin gloves, and a fine supple coat of gleaming black ringmail over layers of black wool and boiled leather. This motherfucker really likes black, huh? Sir Waymar had been a sworn brother of the Night's Watch for less than half a year, but no one could say he had not prepared for his vocation, at least insofar as his wardrobe was concerned. His cloak was his crowning glory, sable, thick, and black, as soft as sin. But he killed them all himself, he did, Garrett told the barracks over wine. Twisted their little heads off, our mighty warrior. They had all shared the laugh. It is hard to take orders from a man you laughed at in your cups, Will reflected, as he sat shivering atop his garron. Garrett must have felt the same. Mormont said we should track them, and we did, Garrett said. They're dead. They shan't trouble us no more. There's hard riding before us. I don't like this weather. If it snows, we could be a fortnight getting back, and snow's the best we can hope for. Ever seen an ice storm, my lord? The lordling seemed not to hear him. He studied the deepening twilight in that half-bored, half-distracted way he had. Will had ridden with the knight long enough to understand that it was best not to interrupt him when he looked like that. Tell me again what you saw, Will. All the details. Leave nothing out. Will had been a hunter before he joined the Night's Watch. Well, a poacher, in truth. Mallister freeriders had caught him red-handed in the Mallister's own woods, skinning one of the Mallister's own bucks, and it had been a choice of putting on the black or losing a hand. No one could move the woods as silent as Will, and it had not taken the Black brothers long to discover his talent. The camp is 2 miles farther on, over that ridge, hard beside a stream, Will said. I got close as I dared. There's 8 of them, men and women both. No children, I could see. They put up a lean-to against the rock. The snow's pretty well covered it now, but I could still make it out. No fire burning, but the fire pit was still plain as day. No one moving. I watched a long time. No living man ever lay so still. Did you see any blood? Well, no, Will admitted. Do you see any weapons? Some swords, a few bows. One man had an axe. Heavy looking, double bladed, a cruel piece of iron. It was on the ground beside him, right by his hand. Now hold on. If he said he didn't see. Oh, no, never mind. He saw 8 of them. Never mind. Okay. So then why is he even saying that no living man ever lay so still? Why, like, I guess he's, like, unnerved by how still they are.
No, no living man. Sorry, what? No living man ever lay
So
so still.
if you look up in the paragraph above, he said there's 8 of them, men and women both, the children I could see. No one moving. I watched a long time. No living man ever lay so still. Is he just like creeped out by these people, or are they like are they dead?
Yeah. So I think the like did you grasp the scenario, right? Like they like how I can begin.
It seems like they're going after a band of raiders. Is that right?
Yeah. So uh exactly. So they this guy he was a poacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I try not to spoil it, but it's not a big spoiler. But he's now a sworn brother of the Night's Watch. So he's like, bro, I have in what they say when your brain freezes. I have that. Sorry.
I think okay. I guess I'll just keep reading because I think I see ahead where it kind of explains what's up with them. So some swords, a few bows. One man had an axe, heavy looking, double bladed, a cruel piece of iron. It was on the ground beside him, right by his hand. Did you make note of the position of the bodies? Will shrugged. A couple are sitting up against the rock. Most of them are on the ground, fallen like. Or sleeping, Roy suggested. Fallen, Will insisted. There's one woman up an ironwood, half hid in the branches. Afar eyes. He smiled thinly. I took care she never saw me. When I got closer, I saw that she wasn't moving neither. Despite himself, he shivered. You have a chill? Royce asked.
Yeah, it's just one page. Like you
Oh,
have
oh, it
to.
jumps ahead one page. Oh, okay. All right, there
Yeah,
we go. Some, Will muttered. The wind, my lord. Then I'll just skip ahead twice then. The young knight turned back to his grizzled man at arms. Frost-fallen leaves whispered past them, and Royce's destrier moved restlessly. What do you think might have killed these men, Garrett? Sir Waymar asked casually. He adjusted the drape of his long sable cloak. Okay, there you go. Yeah, they're dead. That explains it. Yeah, I just gotta keep reading. It was the cold, Garrett said with iron certainty. I saw men freeze last winter, and the one before, when I was half a boy. Everyone talks about snows 40 foot deep, and how the ice wind comes howling out of the north, but the real enemy is the cold. It steals up on you quieter than will, and at first you shiver, and your teeth chatter, and you stamp your feet and dream of mulled wine and nice hot fires. It burns, it does. Nothing burns like the cold, but only for a while. Then it gets inside you and starts to fill you up, and after a while you don't have the strength to fight it. It's easier just to sit down or go to sleep. They say you don't feel any pain toward the end. First you go weak and drowsy, and everything starts to fade, and then it's like sinking into a sea of warm milk. Peaceful like. Such eloquence, Garrett, Sir Waymar observed. I never suspected you had it in you. I've had the cold in me too, lordling. Garrett pulled back his hood, giving Sir Waymar a good long look at the stumps where his ears had been. 2 ears, 3 toes, and the little finger off my left hand. I got off light. We found my brother frozen in his watch, with a smile on his face. Sir Waymar shrugged. You ought dress more warmly, Garrett. Garrett glared at the lordling. The scars around his ear holes flushed red with anger where Maester Aemon had cut the ears away. We'll see how warm you can dress when the winter comes. He pulled up his hood and hunched over his Garen, silent and sullen. If Garrett said it was the cold, Will began. Have you drawn any watches this past week, Will? Yes, my lord. There never was a week when he did not draw a dozen bloody watches. What was the man driving at? And how did you find the wall? Weeping, Will said, frowning. He saw clear enough, now that the lordling had pointed it out. They couldn't have froze. Not if the wall was weeping. It wasn't cold enough. Royce nodded. Bright lad. We've had a few light frosts this past week, and a quick flurry of snow now and then, but surely no cold fierce enough to kill 8 grown men. Men clad in fur and leather, let me remind you, with shelter near at hand, and the means of making fire. The knight's smile was cocksure. Will, lead us there. I would see these dead men for myself. And then there was nothing to be done for it. The order had been given, and honor bound them to obey. Will went in front, his shaggy little Garen picking the way carefully through the undergrowth. A light snow had fallen the night before, and there were stones and roots and hidden sinks lying just under its crust, waiting for the careless and the unwary. Sir Waymar Royce came next, his great black destrier snorting impatiently. The warhouse was the wrong mount for ranging, but try and tell that to the lordling. Garrett brought up the rear. The old man at arms muttered to himself as he rode. Twilight deepened. The cloudless sky turned a deep purple, the color of an old bruise, then faded to black. The stars began to come out, a half moon rise. Will was grateful for the light. We can make a better pace than this, surely, Roy said when the moon was full risen. Not with this horse, Will said. Fear had made him insolent. Perhaps my lord would care to take the lead? Sir Waymar Royce did not deign to reply. Somewhere off in the wood, a wolf howled. Wool pulled his Garen over beneath and under an ancient gnarled ironwood and dismounted. Why are you stopping? Sir Waymar asked. Best go the rest of the way on foot, my lord. It's just over that ridge. Royce paused a moment, staring off in the distance, his face reflective. A cold wind whispered through the trees. His great sable cloak stirred behind like something half alive. There's something wrong here, Garrett muttered. The young knight gave him a disdainful smile. Is there? Can't you feel it? Garrett asked. Listen to the darkness. Will could feel it. 4 years in the night's watch, and he had never been so afraid. What was it? Wind. Trees rustling. A wolf. Which sound is it that amends you so, Garrett? When Garrett did not answer, Roy slid gracefully from his saddle. He tied the destrier securely to a low-hanging limb, well away from the other horses, and drew his longsword from its sheath. Jewels glittered in its hilt, and the moonlight ran down the shining steel. It was a splendid weapon, castle-forged, and new-made from the look of it. Will doubted it had ever been swung in anger. The trees press close here, Will warned. That sword will tang you up, my lord. Better a knife. If I need instruction, I will ask for it, the young lord said. Garrett, stay here. Guard the horses. Garrett dismounted. We need a fire. I'll see to it. How big a fool are you, old man? If there are enemies in this wood, a fire is the last thing we want. There's some enemies a fire will keep away, Garrett said. Bears and direwolves and other things. Sir Waymar's mouth became a hard line. No fire. Garrett's hood shadowed his face, but Will could see the hard glitter in his eyes as he stared at the knight. For a moment, he was afraid the older man would go for his sword. It was a short, ugly thing, its grip discolored by sweat, its edge nicked from hard use, but Will would not have given an iron bob for the lordling's life. Garrett pulled it from his scabbard. Finally, Garrett looked down. No fire, he muttered, low under his breath. That little bit seems kind of unnecessary when he says he muttered. I kind of assume he's doing it under his breath and it's low, but whatever.
Yeah, kind of. What are you thinking so far? Like about the characters, for example? Are you feeling like did you get like
Well, I will say that
the,
I
the
do.
dynamic of the group?
I wish that the sentences were longer. I'm not really that big a fan of how short they are, but I'm assuming that is done on purpose. So I'm trying to understand why it's written like that.
But
You know.
what about the two characters? Like the William McRoyce, Garrett, and Will.
Well,
Like
I mean, I don't know if I've seen
the
enough of them yet to really get a firm grasp of who they are, so I can make my own judgments on their characters. But I do really like the indirectness with which their characters are being revealed, like their personalities and that kind of thing. That's my favorite type of characterization. Like
Mhm,
I think it's fine if you describe directly to the reader like their backgrounds, like the characters have been what like describing like facts about them. Like Will was part of the Night's Watch for 4 years, right? Like I don't have a problem with that kind of thing. I think that's fine. But I really dislike when I'm told what a character is feeling or thinking. I like to figure that out myself.
mhm.
Like if I'm sure you've read stories where the the writer is just like I like if it's a conversation between like a male character and his mom and it's he's and the writer has the male character say something like
What do you mean? Sorry, I couldn't really grasp it.
we're at so, say there's like a conversation between a male character and his mom
his
and the
mom. Oh,
writer has the male character say, I love you because you're my mom, and we care about each
okay.
other because we have that blood connection. You know, that kind of thing is so direct and in your face as characterization, and it's so
Yeah,
boring
yeah.
to me.
Yeah, it's the tales that the writer he doesn't really need to tell you, you know. So, for example, here, I think it's pretty obvious that everyone is kind of annoyed at this Lotling, you know, like you see it like he's young, he's bold, he
Brash.
yeah, exactly. So Garrett, he's like a veteran.
Yep.
Will, he's kind of a veteran too, and he comes from a low buff. Garrett, you can kind of see too, and like Wayne, he's like 19 years old, or even younger maybe. And like everyone takes orders from him because he's a Lordling.
Yep.
But they all need to get the job done, right?
Yeah.
They all are working at the Night's Watch. They all need to take care of the what they call the vigilance. The vigilance looking for raiders,
Yeah.
looking for those who are causing trouble there. And Gary says something like, "We need to light this fucking fire," and then he's like, "No fire." And Gary needs to talk under his breath, like, "Okay, fucking kid, you know."
Yeah. But I think it does. I think it does show to some degree how important honor is and respecting the leadership and nobility.
Yeah, exactly. Eh, it's a small detail like the that can already see. Like I
Yeah.
like this sort of things in writing. Like the reader is reading that and saying, "Bro, shut the fuck up." You like you grow up in a fucking castle. You're mounting the wrong horse for this weather. Like fuck your horse. Mount something nice, something something good for the weather. Obey the fucking guy who's like still alive after he's doing this shit like for 10 years.
Yeah.
But he he's bold, you know. He's a lot,
Yeah. But
a,
I
a
think
lot.
that's kind of what I'm getting at with that whole honor and
Yeah,
respect thing. Where like he George R. R. Martin could have just had Garrett say, "Fine, I'll respect what you say because you're in a higher position than I am, and I'm bound
yeah.
by honor." But he just has him acquiesce and
Yeah,
complete. So
he does not need to. So,
yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Lets the reader figure it out. He lets the reader be intelligent, and I like that.
Yeah.
The most important stuff.
And how you've been absorbing the information. For example, you know that those guys are in the Night's Watch, but like what else did you get about the Night's Watch? Did you really like? I'm not saying that you should, but did you get what those guys do as a job? Like,
I don't really have a firm understanding, but it seems like they patrol around and try to capture. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell what they actually do when the only real point of reference I
yeah,
have is the mission they're on right now.
yeah. Yeah, you can understand that they are like in extreme code. You know,
Yeah.
they have that's told, and yeah, you're not still introduced to what the Night's Watch is. That's clearly
Well,
that's true.
I'm assuming that I will gain a greater understanding if we continue.
Yeah, let's go. Let's
All right.
continue.
So Royce took it for acquiescence and turned away. Lead on, he said to Will. Will threaded their way through a thicket, then started up the slope to the low ridge where he had found his vantage point under a sentinel tree. Under the thin crust of snow, the ground was damp and muddy, slick footing, with rocks and hidden roots to trip you up. Will made no sound as he climbed. Beside him, he heard the soft metallic slither of the lordling's ringmail, the rustle of leaves, and muttered curses as reaching branches grabbed at his longsword and tugged on his splendid sable cloak. The great sentinel was right there at the top of the ridge, where Will had known it would be, its lowest branches a great foot off the ground. A bare foot off the ground. Will slid in underneath, flat on his belly in the snow and mud, and he looked down on the empty clearing below. His heart stopped in his chest. For a moment, he dared not breathe. Moonlight shone down on the clearing, the ashes of the fire pit, the snow-covered lean-to, the great rock, the little half-frozen stream. Everything was just as it had been a few hours ago. They were gone. All the bodies were gone. Gods! He heard behind him. A sword slashed at a branch as Sir Waymar Royce gained the ridge. He stood there beside the sentinel, longsword in hand, his cloak billowing behind him as the wind came up, outlined nobly against the stars for all to see. "Get down!" Will whispered urgently. "Something's wrong." Royce did not move. He looked down at the empty clearing and laughed. "Your dead men seem to have moved camp, Will." Will's voice abandoned him. He groped for words that did not come. It was not possible. His eyes swept back and forth over the abandoned campsite, stopped on the axe. A huge, double-bladed battle axe, still lying where he had seen it last, untouched. A valuable weapon. "On your feet, Will," Sir Waymar commanded. "There's no one here. I won't have you hiding under a bush." Reluctantly, Will obeyed. Sir Waymar looked over him with open disapproval. I'm not going back to Castle Black, a failure on my first ranging. We will find these men." He glanced around. "Up the tree. Be quick about it. Look for a fire." Will turned away, wordless. There was no use to argue. The wind was moving. It cut right through him. He went to the tree, a vaulting gray-green sentinel, and began to climb. Soon his hands were sticky with sap, and he was lost among the needles. Fear filled his gut like a meal he could not digest. He whispered a prayer to the nameless gods of the wood, and slipped his dirk free of its sheath. He put it between his teeth to keep both hands free for climbing. The taste of cold iron in his mouth gave him comfort. Down below, the lordling called out suddenly, "Who goes there?" Will heard uncertainty in the challenge. He stopped climbing. He listened. He watched. The woods gave answer. The rustle of leaves, the icy rush of the stream, a distant hoot of a snow owl. The others made no sound. Will saw movement from the corner of his eye, pale shapes gliding through the wood. He turned his head, glimpsed a white shadow in the darkness. Then it was gone. Branches stirred gently in the wood, scratching at one another with wooden fingers. Will opened his mouth to call down a warning, and the words seemed to freeze in his throat. Perhaps he was wrong. Perhaps it had only been a bird, a reflection on the snow, some trick of the moonlight. What had he seen, after all? "Will, where are you?" Sir Waymar called up. "Can you see anything?" He was turning in a slow circle, suddenly wary, his sword in hand. He must have felt them, as Will felt them. There was nothing to see. "Answer me. Why is it so cold?" It was cold. Shivering, Will clung more tightly to his perch. His face pressed hard against the trunk of the sentinel. He could feel the sweet, sticky sap on his cheek. A shadow emerged from the dark of the wood. It stood in front of Royce. Tall it was, and gaunt, and hard as old bones, with flesh pale as milk. Its armor seemed to change color as it moved. Here was white as new-fallen snow, then black as shadow, everywhere dappled with the deep gray-green of the trees. The patterns ran like moonlight on water with every step it took. Will heard the breath go out of Sir Waymar Royce in a long hiss. "Come no further," the lordling warned. His voice cracked like a boy's. He threw the long sable cloak back over his shoulders to free his arms for battle, and took a sword in both hands. The wind had stopped. It was very cold. The other slid forward on silent feet. In his hand was a longsword like none that Will had ever seen. No human metal had gone into the forging of that blade. It was alive with moonlight, translucent, a shard of crystal so thin that it seemed almost to vanish when seen edge on. There was a faint blue shimmer to the thing, a ghost light that played around its edges, and somehow Will knew it was sharper than any razor. Sir Waymar met him bravely. Dance with me, then. He lifted his sword high over his head, defiant. His hands trembled from the weight of it, or perhaps from the cold. Yet in that moment, Will thought he was a boy no longer, but a man of the night's watch. That's nice. That's a good moment. He's able to see his respect for Waymar increase right there.
It just as the moment he starts to really get respect, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good. It's all easy to talk a big game and say whatever you want, but you only really get to see what people are made of when they're put in this situation. And it's good to see that Waymar actually can uh, live up to what he's supposed to be, at least for now.
Yeah, like most people just run, you know.
The other halted. Will saw its eyes, blue, deeper and bluer than any human's, a blue that burned like ice. They fixed on the longsword trembling on high, watched the moonlight running cold along the metal. For a heartbeat, he dared to hope. They emerged silently from the shadows, twins to the first. Three of them, four, five. Sir Waymar may have felt the cold that came with them, but he never saw them, never heard them. Will had to call out. It was his duty, and his death if he did. He shivered and hugged a tree and kept the silence. Hmm, interesting. So he values life more than honor and his duty. Okay. The pale sword came shivering through the air. Sir Waymar met it with steel. When the blades met, there was no ring of metal on metal, only a high, thin sound at the edge of hearing, like an animal screaming in pain. That sounds pretty similar to the whatever you call it, those wraith things from Lord of the Rings.
Mm, yeah, I don't remember it pretty well, but I do remember the raves.
Yeah, the ring wraiths, I think they're called, right? That's I don't remember if that's what their blades actually do, but reminds me of that. How they shriek. No, I
Like
think I'm actually thinking of the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant.
what's the what's the name?
Oh, the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. Oh man, what a good fucking epic fantasy. So good. Like the name of that series, like the you know how like people say like there's a phrase that goes the name of the game is this.
The
Are
name
you
of the
familiar
game.
with that saying?
The name of the game is this. I don't think I know.
Oh, let's say like
Yes, when the name has it.
I'm trying to say that, like I'm not talking about like the actual name of the book. Like the name of the book is a Game of Thrones, but in the card game Yu-Gi-Oh, the most critical aspect of it is speed, is tempo. Like the name of the game in Yu-Gi-Oh is tempo.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of what I'm talking about. And the name of the game in the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant is consequences. Everything has a consequence, and
Mhm.
but it's so good. You gotta read it. It's such a good series. At least the first trilogy, the first three books, is such a
Yeah.
good series of books.
I think I understood like what you mean. Like, and some things for bro, you just saying it. What the fuck? you you can use a word to describe the book. You want to say that like something can define the book,
Yeah,
you know, and it's about having consequence, something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I get it.
It's
I get it.
like consequences are like if you were to boil the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant down to a single word, it is consequences.
I get it. I get
Yeah. Such a good read, though. I definitely recommend it to anybody and everybody to check it out. It's got a very, very tough scene to read in the beginning of the first book, but it is so worth it
Yeah,
to get through.
why is it tough? Like it's violence. It's
Um, yeah, it's the main character rapes a woman.
damn, bro. Damn.
Yeah, it's very intense, but it is the series is written so well. Like Thomas Covenant is not a main character that you care for. He's not a very likable guy.
Yeah, he's a the the villain protagonist. You know, he's probably it's
He
like that.
is the protagonist, but he's not really a hero.
Yeah, you're not supposed to cheer for him.
Yeah, but
I
there's
get it.
there is an extremely good reason why he is the way he is and why he does what he does.
I like this kind of protagonist, to be honest. Like,
Check it out then.
uh,
Such a good series.
uh, I'm a huge fan, of mafia movies, for example,
Mhm.
and but Breaking Bad too.
Yeah.
I think it sets a very special vibe, when you're not supposed to really shift for the protagonist. The protagonist is there to like teach you how to not do, not be like him.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's a really good dynamic.
I remember watching an interview with the cast and Vince Gilligan,
Oh
and
yeah,
he said that what he tried to do was start Walter out on as a good enough guy and just push the readers as far as he possibly could, or the watchers, to see how far he could push them, to see how far they'd go with Walter White,
yeah,
until
yeah,
his behavior just becomes absolutely reprehensible.
yeah, and like, bro, it's kind of a funny experiment too, because like you see that those shows they did something really right.
Oh yeah.
Because so, like you see people, for example, I think this is insane. Like Thomas Shelby, Tony Montana from the Scarface, Walter White. These guys are like heroes for some people. They think that, oh my God, like I need to be a man like him. They are examples of masculinity for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But like, bro, Tony Montana from Scarface, why you wanna be like him? What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's like a fun experience.
Yeah.
You get to really understand how people work, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, Walter White, he's making life hell for his entire family. He's drugging half of America, and people can really see that on him because they see him like destroying his competition, him being like the big man, like the bigger man, and they idolize him for that. So that's kind of fun. And
I think what sets Walter White apart, and what really shows just how intelligent of a writer Vince Gilligan is that Walter starts out as an actual hero. He's actually a good person, and then Breaking Bad is just the journey of him becoming a villain.
yes, exactly, exactly. He just was like more and more unhinged,
Yeah.
and more despicable as the show goes on.
Yeah. And it's
And,
insane that he went from Malcolm in the Middle, dopey dad, to that.
oh yeah, yeah, bro. Breaking Bad has a lot of comedy actors, like,
Yeah.
and they so good, man. I forgot his name now. Bobby Odenkirk.
Yeah.
He's amazing in that role. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
he
yeah, there's
used
a
to be,
reason he got his own spin-off show.
yeah, yes, he got his spin-off show and his career was like skyrocket.
Yeah.
But when you see his career, he was like a Saturday Night Live writer.
Mm-hmm.
He did How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
So it's but there's a lot of comedy
Yeah. He
actors
he
and
auditioned
they
for
all work so fucking well. I want to say, bro, a good script can can do something amazing. Like a good
Yes,
director can take the best out of people.
absolutely.
It's like the guy Mark. I forgot the name, bro. It's that he's almost a redhead. And Mark,
I'm not sure you're talking about.
he's really famous, bro. I forgot his name now.
Maybe I'd recognize his name when you say it, but just that description,
Oh, look,
no, it's not ringing any
famous
bells.
people name it Mark. Oh, wait, Mark Wahlberg.
He's not a redhead. What are you talking about?
I don't know, bro. I say almost like I almost say redhead, but yeah,
He's
he's
got
not.
brown hair. I think it might be even black. What do you mean?
No, yeah, he's not. He's not. I'm wrong. Okay, but anyway, like bro, I think he's such a bad actor, bro. Like he
You think?
sucks. But I do. No, no, not sucks. Like
Have
pretty,
you have you seen The
not a
Departed?
big deal. Yeah, I was gonna say that. In
He's
Departed,
really
he's
good in
amazing.
that. He's really good in that.
He's insane. He's brilliant. But it's a Scorsese movie, right? And you see, like, you give it some actors a good director, and they change like this.
Mm-hmm.
Jonah Hill in the Wolf of Wall Street, for example, he's amazing in that movie too.
Who?
Jonah Hill.
Oh, yeah. He's he's a pretty big scumbag, but yeah, he's really good in that. I think all the actors in that movie are really good, but I've
Yeah,
I've
really
come to
good
like the
movie.
movie a little bit less after the first watching, just because of how much it glorifies that lifestyle and just kind of how long it is. It is a very long movie, and it does not need to be that long.
It's one of my favorite movies, bro. I think it's so fucking good.
See, I always think of Wolf of Wall Street along with another movie, American Hustle. Have you seen that one?
American Hustle is the one with Brad. I forgot the name. Brad, the one that sings along with Lady Gaga.
No, no, it's not. It's with Christian
What?
Bale, Amy Adams,
Oh yeah,
Jeremy
it
Renner.
is this one. It's this one. It's Brad. I forgot the last name.
Oh yeah,
Let me
he is
Google
in
it.
it. Yeah, yeah, that's right. He is in it. He is in it.
It's because he has different hair.
Yeah, he's got that ridiculous curly hair. But he's also the most
Eh,
intolerable aspect of them. He's the most annoying character in that movie. But that
yeah,
I always kind of pair those two movies together in my mind, and American Hustle is such a good movie.
yeah. I really like this one too. The Christian Bale is fat, right?
Yeah,
This movie is
with the
amazing,
comb
bro. This
over.
movie is,
Like Christian Bale's got to be one of the best actors of all time with how much
yeah,
range he's got. It's insane.
I'm a huge fan of him, bro.
Yeah,
A
he's
huge
so
fan.
good. He's
I
really
follow.
good in the Batman trilogy too.
Yeah, he's really insane at Batman. There's a boxing movie that he's did. It's
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg in
Yep.
this movie too. And I think Mark Wahlberg is so fucking bad in this movie, but
Ford
Amy
versus
Adams,
Ferrari. I want to see that.
yeah,
I've not
it
seen that
was
yet,
so
but
good. Yeah, really.
um,
Dick Cheney, the Dick Cheney movie. I forgot the name now.
the what?
Dick Cheney, the vice president that was really powerful.
Um, I don't know of any movies they're in together.
I know he plays Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney
Oh,
movie.
I don't know. I'm not sure of that movie.
Yeah, it's the name is Vice, literally. So
Oh,
good, this movie
haven't
is so
I've
good, bro.
never heard of it.
He's insane. He almost won Oscar because of it.
Hmm.
Well, all right, let's go back to the story.
Yes.
I think,
Yes. That's why I like doing podcasts. It's just a conversation. The
yeah,
story is
no,
just a gateway to conversation. But anyway, Sir Waymar met it with steel. When the blades met, there was no ring of metal on metal, only a high, thin sound at the edge of hearing, like an animal screaming in pain. Royce checked a second blow and a third, then fell back a step. Another flurry of blows, and then he fell back again. Behind him, to right, to left, all around him, The watchers stood patient, faceless, silent, the shifting patterns of their delicate armor making them all but invisible in the wood. Yet they made no move to interfere. Again and again the swords met, until Will wanted to cover his ears against the strange anguished keening of their clash. I really like that collection of words right there. That's a I think that's a beautiful what do you call it? Series of words. Strange anguished keening. Love that. Sir Waymore was panting from the effort now, his breath steaming in the moonlight. His blade was white with frost. The others danced with pale blue light. Then Royce's parry came a beat too late. The pale sword bit through the ring mail beneath his arm. The young lord cried out in pain. Blood welled between the rings. It steamed in the cold, and the droplets seemed red as fire where they touched the snow. Sir Waymer's fingers brushed his side. His moleskin glove came away soaked with red. The other said something in a language that Will did not know. His voice was like the cracking of ice on a winter lake, and the words were mocking. Sir Waymer Royce found his fury. "For Robert!" he shouted, and he came up snarling, lifting the frost-covered longsword with both hands and swinging it around in a flat sidearm slash with all his weight behind it. The other's parry was almost lazy. When the blades touched, the steel shattered. A scream echoed through the forest night, and the long sword shivered into 100 brittle pieces, the shards scattering like a rain of needles. Royce went to his knees, shrieking, and covered his eyes. Blood welled between his fingers. Okay, I'm not sure how that happened. If his sword just exploded, I don't know how his why his okay. The watchers moved forward together, as if some signal had been given. Swords rose and fell, all in a deathly silence. It was cold butchery. The pale blade sliced through ringmail as if it were silk. Will closed his eyes. Far beneath him, he heard their voices and laughter, sharp as icicles. When he found the courage to look again, a long time had passed, and the ridge below was empty. He stayed in the tree, scarce daring to breathe, while the moon crept slowly across the black sky. Finally, his muscles cramping and his fingers numb with cold, he climbed down. Royce's body lay face down in the snow, one arm outflung. The thick sable cloak had been slashed in a dozen places. Lying dead like that, you saw how young he was. A boy. He found what was left of the sword a few feet away. The end splintered and twisted like a tree struck by lightning. Will knelt, looked around warily, and snatched it up. The broken sword would be his proof. Garrett would know what to make of it. And if not him, then surely that old bear Mormont or Meister Aemon. Would Garrett still be waiting with the horses? He had to hurry. Will rose. Sir Waymore Royce stood over him. His fine clothes were a tatter, his face a ruin. A shard from his sword transfixed the blind white pupil of his left eye. The right eye was open. The pupil burned blue. It saw. The broken sword fell from nerveless fingers. Will closed his eyes to pray. Long, elegant hands brushed his cheek, then tightened around his throat. They were gloved in the finest moleskin and sticky with blood, yet the touch was icy cold. Hmm. So that was the prologue, and I think it certainly set the scene pretty well.
Yeah, like you you get to you get to see that that was a bit of a remorse part of the entire show, of the entire book.
Yeah,
Right. But you get the I think that the importance of the prologue is that the reader already knows a secret of the world, right? The you see that the characters there, they have no idea who the others are, right? The name of the blue thing that try to kill them,
yeah,
that killed them actually. And yes, the readers already know something about the world. The readers already like entering the world, right? I think it's kind of like that. And then like in this chapter, the now that we will learn about Brent, we will start to enter the true world of the Game of Thrones, right? The laws, the castles. We will see more about that now.
Well, I think it certainly sets the scene very well for the rest of the story to come. This is a very, very brutal land, very unforgiving, a lot of mysterious forces at work.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, you're right. Like you all that sets the fantasy tone, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, you also like see the like there's little time for us to really feel like, oh my God, Wade my Russ died. No, no, we don't care that much,
but I think
but
there
we
was a
already
good
know.
bit of characterization given to them just in that little bit.
Yeah, yeah, there is like yeah, I can feel pity of Will. I kind of wish Waymar leave because he seemed like a fun character, and Garrett seemed like a fun character too. He seemed like a character that everyone deserved to leave, you know. But yeah, we already know from the prologue that this is a more realistic story when it comes down to who lives or dies, right?
Mm-hmm.
You will not expect to see much heroism here. Like, of course, sometimes George will protect his characters, but overall, in any chapter, you can see your favorite character die. You know, and those guys are not your favorite characters, of course, but yeah, in some stories they would have it run away. You know, but they just die. Right? Like from the start, it's say that you can see that, bro. You're a scenario where you should die in Game of Thrones, you die.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot more somber than something like Harry Potter or Aragon. I guess Aragon is probably the a closer equivalent.
I don't know. The Lord of the Rings.
Aragon, like the dragons and the dragon riders.
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh man, such a good series, and it's easy to read. Like Game of Thrones is dense. Like Lord of the Rings is fucking dense. Aragon is like the approachable version of those. It's actually called the Inheritance Cycle, but it is such a good series. Oh man, it's such a good series, and it's the first book was written by a guy who has the world record for youngest published author.
Oh,
You could definitely get an understanding that it is a young author from that first book, but the world that he creates is so enthralling. I love going back to it.
nice, nice. I may read someday.
If you like dragons, then you'll probably like this.
I love dragons.
Just don't watch the movie. It is a fucking travesty, and it butchers the source material so badly.
That's common over like TV butchering shows.
Yeah, yeah, that's how I feel about all the Harry Potter movies. They're soulless cash grabs. But I think apparently there's a TV show in the works for Aragon. But definitely check out that book series. They're nice, thick novels, so you have a lot to digest, but it's very approachable, very easy to read. It's like the light reading of epic fantasy. But anyway, I think that even just the prologue, only 1% into the book, I think that's a good place to stop.
I mean, I don't know, bro. Only 1%, like, will have a 100 chapters to win,
Yeah,
to
but
win
I
this.
mean, just going through the prologue took just about an hour. Of course,
Yeah, yeah.
we did go off on some tangents, but that was the vast majority of this. It's just me reading it. It takes it's If I
Yeah,
was
it's
just
fine.
reading it on my own time, I'd go through it a lot quicker. But reading aloud takes longer because I got to make it sound
Yeah, it's,
actually
I, I,
entertaining.
was- I was really realizing that too.
Yeah.
And it's really like I was reading faster than you out loud, and I said, "Oh, of
Well,
course it
that's
makes
why I
sense."
kept stumbling at some points because like I read a lot faster than I read aloud.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that maybe if you want, we can try this right now. When it comes down to the scriptures, like here's the scriptures, maybe you can skip it. I don't
No, I
know.
can't skip it because it's important. It's
Because
all important
because
stuff for understanding the world and the characters. It's important stuff.
no, I'm not saying like skip it. You read it, but you don't read out loud. You know, because I think we're here for the commentary. I don't think people will really be expecting a audiobook. You know, so yeah, that would make things quicker, right? Uh,
Yeah, I guess I could do that in future ones, but I think for now I'll just for at least the prologue I'll stick with just having the reading aloud. But yeah, my voice could I'm fine, but I think if I were to do that for every single chapter, my voice would not like that.
yeah,
So
yeah, but in the next time, let's try that.
I
Let's
guess
try that thing
yeah, and then I can just chop it up
because,
and edit
for
together where
example,
we're actually talking because that's gonna end up being a lot of dead space, a lot of dead air.
yeah, for example, like when it's described like the forest, things like that, man. We are here for the commentaries,
Yeah.
so
But this was just a
I,
trial episode. I've never done anything like this before, so I didn't know how it would go.
yeah,
But
yeah, I
yeah,
can,
I think that's a good idea if we do this again.
bro. Did you ever watch Goodfellas?
Yeah, I didn't really care for it that much.
Ah, come on, bro. So good, so good.
Eh,
It's my favorite movie, I think. It's my favorite
I'm
movie.
I wasn't really that big on it.
I mean, my like, if you ask me seriously, I would say that my favorite movie is Goodfellas.
Okay.
But I really enjoy Superbad too. But I don't know, it's a comedy movie.
I mean,
So like,
I don't see anything wrong with having your favorite movie as a comedy.
no, it's not about that, but like, it's not nothing wrong with comedy movies at all. But I don't know, I feel like you kind of rank them different, you know?
Yeah.
That's
I
like, it's like, I feel when I say my favorite movie, like, when I say Goodfellas, and when I say Superbad, it's like two different categories, you know?
yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
feel fair putting them in the same place, right?
Yeah, it's apples to oranges. Very different styles of writing. I would say comedy is probably the hardest writing to do. It's very
Yeah, it's
easy
pretty
to
hard.
it's very easy to make people feel anger or despair or things like that, but trying to make somebody laugh and make them consistently laugh is extremely difficult to do.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, sometimes I try, not sometimes, almost every chapter, I try to mix some comedy in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a bit of a struggle to find the right jokes and things like that, you know?
Mhm.
So I sometimes just like, I give up. I don't want to make you feel so forced to something like that.
Yeah. But anyway, I had a good time with this.
Me too, me too. I like it.
Yeah, try not to sound too excited.
Yeah, I was like, y'all me. But I did. I just like,
But anyway, I think this is a good place to stop, and we can pick it up again next time with me just reading it normally and then cutting up the episode to where we're actually speaking. But anyway, this has been another episode of the Best Book Club. Uh, thank you so much for joining me with this, Vaughn.
nice, bro.
Yeah, well, I guess I will see you on the next episode, wherever that happens to be. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.